To another video. So today we're going to be looking at the 2025 New York City Democratic mayoral primary. I'm recording this video on Sunday night, and the primary is on Tuesday, and tonight was the last day of early voting. And this primary has grabbed a lot of people's attention, especially on the internet, because you've got former Governor Andrew Cuomo running, and at first he was a huge favorite, but now that's not really the case. So let's take a deep dive into the candidates and what we might be able to expect from the results on Tuesday. So first of all, I just wanted to say that on Tuesday, we're only going to know the results of the first round, since New York does have ranked choice voting in New York City for the primary elections. And assuming that no candidate does win a majority in the first round, we won't know the final round results for probably another week. So Andrew Cuomo, if you didn't know, he was the governor of New York, and then in 2021 he resigned over a bunch of sexual harassment allegations, and now he's running for mayor of New York. Now the current mayor, Eric Adams, he was elected in 2021 as a Democrat, but he's running as an independent now after a whole bunch of corruption allegations and investigations that were ultimately dropped. So on the Democratic primary, you've got Andrew Cuomo, you've got State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, you've got New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, you've got former New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer, who also ran in 2021, you've got New York City Council Speaker Adrian Adams, and then you've got some other candidates as well. Michael Blake, he's a progressive. Zellner Myrie, he's a progressive. Jessica Ramos, she's a bit mixed. Whitney Tilson, he's a more conservative candidate. And if we look at some of the endorsements, Zohran Mamdani was endorsed by AOC. He was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton endorsed Andrew Cuomo, and then some of New York's congressmen, also Jim Clyburn, they endorsed Andrew Cuomo. Furthermore, Adrian Adams, she was endorsed by Tish James. Some of the progressives have also endorsed Brad Lander. Now, the Working Families Party, they have endorsed Zohran Mamdani, Brad Lander, Adrian Adams, and Michael Blake, and they've all cross-endorsed each other, especially Mamdani and Lander, who in polling, they've been number 2 and number 3. Now, speaking of polling, if we take a look here, in the latest poll by Marist College, they had Cuomo up by 12 in the first round. Cuomo at 43, Mamdani at second, 31, Lander at 8, Adams at 7. And then, as you can see, most of these polls, they've got Cuomo around maybe up by 10 points in the first round. And then when you switch it to the final round, it's clearly a two-way race between Cuomo and Mamdani. So this poll actually only had Cuomo up by 4, but usually, again, you'll see Cuomo up by 10 to 12 in the final round. So the polling has definitely shown a clear lead for Cuomo. However, if you go back to March, look, Cuomo plus 40, and then in April, May, Cuomo plus 28, then Cuomo plus 20, Cuomo 22, even all the way down to single digits now. So Cuomo started with a huge lead. However, obviously that lead has gotten significantly closer as Mamdani has closed that gap. And this last poll, they finished taking it on June 16th, and Cuomo's lead has been rapidly evaporating. So as far as we know, Mamdani may be leading right now. We don't know. Since this last poll was about a week ago. And so if we look at Brad Lander, he has consistently been polling around 3rd place, Adrian Adams 4th place, but Lander has made a big deal of cross-endorsing with Mamdani, and then even Adams, although her cross-endorsement was kind of weak, she did cross-endorse the Working Families Party line, which included Mamdani, and most of their voters should go to Mamdani, which is definitely helping him. A lot of these candidates have really formed an anti-Cuomo coalition, if you will, which is possible because of ranked choice voting. They're able to cross endorse. And if we take a look here, there has been a huge spending gap. Cuomo, there have been super PACs funded by billionaires, many of them right-wing billionaires, that have supported Cuomo. There's been a lot of spending helping Cuomo and going against Mamdani. The vast majority of spending towards Cuomo has been from super PACs, as you can see, and a lot of it has gone against Mamdani. So Cuomo definitely has a huge fundraising advantage. However, a few days ago, Michael Blake, one of the progressive candidates, he qualified for $8 million of public spending for his campaign, and he's been using that to blast TV ads telling voters not to rank Cuomo in the final stretch. I think that could certainly make at least somewhat of a difference. But basically, all of these candidates have pretty much hopped onto the anti-Cuomo train, and we've had 2 debates in this election, and Mamdani has performed quite well, Cuomo not so much. Basically, what I'm trying to get across is that Mamdani has ran perhaps as well of a campaign as possible for someone who started as a very long shot candidate, and Cuomo has ran a pretty terrible campaign. Even if he does win, it'll be a pretty close race. And considering Cuomo started off leading by 40 points, he has really blown that lead. Now, looking at some data here, we can compare 2021 and 2025 and the final in-person early vote share by NYC borough. And as you can see, Brooklyn's vote share has increased, Manhattan's has slightly increased, Queens has increased. However, Bronx and Staten Island have decreased. Now, Staten Island and the Bronx, those are Cuomo's strongest boroughs. Brooklyn is expected to go to Mamdani comfortably. Manhattan and Queens are more toss-ups. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that the areas that Mamdani needs to come out in droves to vote, those are the areas that are coming out. Which is not good news for Cuomo, because his stronger areas, they're not voting by nearly the numbers that he needs. And looking over here, again, Brooklyn, compared to 2021 in the early vote, up by 118%. Manhattan, up by 102%. Queens, up by 114%. But the Bronx, only up by 50%. Staten Island, only up by 36%. These numbers are not good for Cuomo. Furthermore, on Tuesday, election day in New York, it's expected to be around 100 degrees. It's going to be very hot out. Cuomo needs for the turnout on election day to be super high, because Mamdani seems to clearly be winning the early vote. So Cuomo needs to have phenomenal turnout on election day in order to win this race. And due to the weather, I don't know if he's going to be able to hit the numbers he needs. So, and honestly, I could be totally off and Cuomo might hit those numbers, but right now for Cuomo, it's not looking good. And it seems like Mamdani, he has all of the enthusiasm, he's got all of the momentum in this race, and the numbers for Cuomo, they're not looking good. Although I would say that Cuomo is a slight favorite still, I would not be at all shocked if Mamdani wins this race. And I mean, if Mamdani manages to pull off the upset here, this would be a huge win for the left, and it would radically potentially alter the way the Democratic Party does things. So we won't find out at least until Tuesday, probably another week after the final results. But thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe, share, comment, help me grow my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.